Hello Year 11, welcome to our Year 11 virtual options evening. This evening I'd like to tell you a little bit about the A-level Religion, Philosophy and Ethics course at Bryn Teg. I'm Mrs Florence, the Learning Coordinator for Religion, Philosophy and Ethics. Do you recognise any of these students? What have they got in common? Well, all three students are past pupils of Bryn Teg, all studied A-level Religion, Philosophy and Ethics, and they're all now at either Oxford or Cambridge, and they're studying either religion, theology, philosophy or anthropology. And so these are just three of many students who are accepted at Russell Group universities as they regard religion, philosophy and ethics as a really relevant academic subject. In Year 12, students will study AS level. In the Religion, Ethics and Philosophy course, there are two main modules. The first one is a study of religion, and we've opted to study Hinduism, which is a fascinating religion, very different to what we've studied before at GCSE. So this is a new religion for most students, and so they really enjoy finding out about this fascinating faith. We've got excellent links with faith communities and excellent resources on Hinduism. And then the second module is a study of philosophy and ethics. I usually teach the Hinduism module at AS and at A2. So this is a brief outline of the course at AS. First of all, we have 4 topics. The first topic is called Religious Figures and Texts. Now in this topic we look at the origins of Hinduism. How did this ancient religion, which dates back to about 5,000 years, begin? So we had to look at archaeological evidence, and it's quite difficult to explain how this religion began as it has no founder. And so we start off by looking at this and looking at sacred texts, and we go on to look at religious figures such as Gandhi and the work that they did in modern India. We also look at religious concepts such as karma and reincarnation, and we look at Hindu views about yoga and about life after death. In the topic on religious life, we look at Hindus and how they live their lives today. So we look at issues like the caste system in India, and is this fair? We look at concepts like ahimsa or non-violence and how relevant this is in the modern world. And then we link this in with other pacifists and other non-violent protests, and we get to discuss Martin Luther King and other protesters who've perhaps based their protests on the original protests of Gandhi. Finally, we look at the diversity within Hinduism. Hinduism is a really diverse religion. Not all Hindus are the same. And so we look at different aspects of Hinduism and how different types of Hindus live their lives. And we look at issues such as Hindu worship and Hindu festivals such as Holi and Durga Puja. We usually get opportunities to visit Hindu temples, such as the one in this image, which is the temple in Neasden in London. There are also temples in Cardiff and Swansea that we can visit. We've got lots of links with these communities. But to broaden your understanding of Hinduism, we visit many places of worship and visit many Hindu communities. So we've got some examples here of photographs of some of our past students. We visit the Bhaktivedanta Manor in Watford, which is the headquarters of the ISKCON community in Britain. We also visit the Swaminarayan Temple in Cardiff and Govinda's Temple in Swansea, and we try and taste some Hindu food and immerse ourselves in some Hindu culture. And we also get opportunities to practice yoga perhaps, or to eat some vegetarian food in their Hindu restaurants. And we meet members of the community so that we can interview them and find out much more about their faith.
Hello and welcome to the philosophy side of the course. I'm Mrs Morris and I will be your philosophy teacher next year. So philosophy literally means love of wisdom, and the whole course asks you to think about life and what we really truly understand about it. One of the ancient Greeks, Socrates, who is a legend in philosophy, said that an unexamined life is not worth living. And what that means is that we should be asking questions, we should be delving deeper, and we shouldn't just take things on face value. So throughout the course next year, we look at the existence of God and whether or not there is any evidential proof that God exists, or the God that we think we know exists. We also look at good and evil and how God could exist in a world where there is so much evil and suffering on a daily basis. And we also look at religious experience and whether or not there is proof that people do have these religious experiences and whether or not that is any evidence for the supernatural. So hopefully we'll see you in September. If you have any questions in the meantime, you're welcome to come and see me in room 11. Okay, thanks. So I think one of the best things about RS at A-level is the amount of extracurricular trips, visits and opportunities that we offer. So I'm very fortunate that I run the trip to Poland that we take every 2 years. So hopefully we're going in 2022 because next year's trip has been postponed because of the current situation. So our trip to Poland is usually 4 days, and during that time we go to a concentration camp, we go to Auschwitz and we go to Birkenau. We meet a concentration camp survivor, which is a huge privilege. We also go to the salt mines and we go down underground and we look at the mines and all the beautiful things that they've built there. And we walk around the Jewish quarter and we look at what life was like for Jews living in Poland at that time. The trip is usually between £500 and £650, and that includes absolutely everything. That's your flights, your transfers, entry into all the museums and all the exhibitions while we're there, your food and your accommodation. So hopefully there will be more information coming out to you in the spring once I've confirmed that the trip can go ahead in 2022. Until then, if you have any questions, I'm in room 11. You're more than welcome to come along and ask for some more information.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Thomas and I teach the ethics part of the course. In year 12, you'll be looking at something called normative ethics, and normative ethics basically means that we're going to look at different theories that teach us or tell us how we should be behaving. And the course is split up into 4 main themes. The first one we look at is called ethical thought, and we look at something called divine command theory. And this basically says that it's our duty to obey the rules that are commanded by God, and that any acts that God forbids are essentially morally wrong. So we shouldn't behave in that way. Then we look at something called virtue theory. And this is an ethical situation based on defining the personal qualities that make a person moral. So Aristotle, for example, said that instead of asking questions like, how should I behave? Instead, we should be asking, what type of person should I be? Then the last part of the first theme, we look at something called ethical egoism. And this type of ethics focuses on self-interest. So if you think about that episode of Friends where Phoebe and Joey are having a conversation where they challenge each other to find a selfless act and fail, that links in with ethical egoism. So it says, really, we should just be trying to work on what makes us happy, and we shouldn't be focusing on other people. The second thing we look at is Aquinas' natural law, and this ethical theory is known as deontological. So it focuses on whether the action is morally right rather than the outcome of that. So you should, according to natural law, follow the rules of nature because God has created everything in the world, and therefore by following these natural laws, you are in essence following what God has intended you to do. Then thirdly, we look at Fletcher's situation ethics, and this was created out of the changes that were happening in society in the 1960s, and it's the middle way between 2 different ways of ethical thinking known as legalism and antinomianism. Legalism just means that people follow laws as they're written, and they believe that you should follow it in a very black and white way. If some law says don't do something, then you don't, regardless of the situation. Antinomianism is a type of ethics that says we shouldn't have any rules, that people are inclined to behave morally anyway because they have no boundaries to push against, and that if we didn't have any rules in society, antinomianists argue that actually we probably would behave morally anyway. The situation ethics is like a middle ground between legalism and antinomianism. There is one rule, but only one, and that rule is to apply the concept of agape, unconditional or Christian love, to all situations. So do as Jesus would have done according to the Gospels and the Bible. And then lastly, we look at utilitarianism, which is actually an atheist ethical theory. So there is no God at the centre of this ethical theory. And this is based on something called the principle of utility. So that basically means usefulness. So morality is achieved by seeking the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. So as you can see, we cover lots of different ethical theories and different ways of thinking that are both religious and non-religious in the ethics course. We have lots of discussions and debates and really get your mind working through these moral and ethical questions. I think obviously I'm biased, it's lots of fun and it's a very interesting course, and if you have any further questions, please feel free to ask me, and hopefully we look forward to seeing you in the AS course next year.
So how are students assessed? Well, in religion, ethics and philosophy, there are two key assessments at AS level. There's an examination paper on Hinduism, where students have an hour and 15 minutes to complete the paper, and the second paper is on philosophy and ethics, and for this they have an hour and 45 minutes. So the AS qualification is based on their performance on those two papers. Then at A2 there are 3 modules, there are 3 separate papers. For this they have an hour and a half per paper to answer questions on Hinduism, and another paper on religion and ethics, and the final exam paper is on philosophy of religion.
Hi, I'm Senna Gverchin and I study law at Oxford Brookes University and I love it.
I'm Ollie Silverton and I work in the sports media industry. I travel around the world making viral videos.
My name is Mo Ahmed. I'm a crew manager with the London Fire Brigade. It's the best job in the world.
RE isn't a boring subject where you just have to sit down and learn about different religions. It's just studying to understand different perspectives and just learning how to respect them, which kind of opens doors to all sorts of careers.
Studying RE definitely helps me understand how religious beliefs influence different countries and cultures, and this helps me in my day-to-day job whenever I'm travelling.
At school I studied RE. It's given me a great understanding of all the different communities that we serve. If you've got a real good understanding of cultures and religions, then it can only help you to be a better firefighter.
To study law, I believe the main essential skill would be to debate, and I don't think I would have learned how to do that if I hadn't studied RE.
I know there are people alive today that wouldn't be if it wasn't for the work of all my colleagues within the brigade.
I am really happy that I studied RE in school because RE was the main subject that pushed me towards university. Now I'm on my way to becoming a lawyer and that is a big dream come true for me.
My job is amazing. It really doesn't feel like work most of the time, which sounds like something I shouldn't say, but that's the beauty of it. I absolutely love what I do.
Thank you for listening to our presentation on A-Level Religion, Philosophy and Ethics. If you have any further questions, please contact me by email on my email address florenceL4@hubcymru.net, or come and visit me in room 22 where you usually find me teaching during the day. So thank you very much again, and we hope that you'll be joining us in our A-Level Religion, Ethics and Philosophy class in September. Thank you.
In me, every time I touch that track, it turns into gold. Everybody knows I got the magic in me. When I hit the floor, the girls come snapping at me. Now everybody wants a blast of magic, 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 oh. I got the magic in me. Baby, I let tempo blow your mind. Pick a verse, any verse, I hypnotize you with every line.